cold? Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip board meeting. Today's June 21st, 2021. We're going to call this meeting to order at 7:31 p.m. Clerk Harding, can you call the roll, please?
Yes. Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Juarez?
Here.
Trustee McLaughlin?
Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Nava-Esparza?
Here.
Trustee Peretta?
Here.
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you. You can't see this on camera. We've got all these meetings are YouTube, so if anybody's interested, you can always tune in to tonight's meeting, and it'll be posted by tomorrow afternoon sometime. And the camera's only faced on us, so unfortunately, you folks at home, I'll just explain to you, we've got quite a respected group of our also police department here with us tonight, so thank you everybody for being with us tonight then too. Before we start with our officers' reports and recognizing our new sergeant with the police department, I'd like to bring attention to the police department, let's see, our committee report, and with regard to a presentation of a life-saving award to Officer Margaret Wildner for her actions Officer Wildner, if you can come up forward, I appreciate it. Thank you. The Chief Jay Miller's got something very nice to explain what happened with Officer Margaret Wilder. Margaret, thank you very much for your service to our community, and I just want to preface it with saying that on May 2nd, 2021, Margaret helped save the life of a child. Thank you very much for doing that. And go ahead, Chief.
I'm just going to read the award letter into the record. On May 2nd, 2021, at approximately 10:46 a.m., Alsip officers were dispatched to assist the fire department in the 12800 block of Kenneth Avenue for a 4-month-old infant not breathing and blue in the face. Officer Margaret Wildner was the first emergency responder physically on scene. Officer Wildner was met with a mother who was performing CPR on her baby, as instructed with the guidance of 911 operator Diana Velasco Silva. Officer Wildner, now being on scene, relied on her training and began to physically check the baby. Officer Wildner held the baby in her arm downward on his stomach and delivered hand strikes to the back of the baby. After a few hand strikes, the baby began to cough and breathe on its own. The baby returned to normal color and was transported to Christ Hospital by the Alsip Fire Department for an evaluation. Your actions during this incident are worthy of special mention and recognition. Your attention to the details within this incident speaks highly of your professionalism and dedication to duty. It also proudly shows your deep commitment to helping this agency accomplish its mission and goals. Please accept my personal congratulations on a job well done. Respectfully, me.
Margaret, congratulations. Job well done, really. Very well. Thanks, Margaret. Where's Margaret's family? Come up for a photo, please, with Margaret.
Where's the puppy? The party. Everybody go.
Those soldiers left short one.
Pretty confident. Thanks much, everybody. Thank you. Again, well done. Again, well done, Officer Wildner. Thank you for helping our community and makes it a nice, safe place to be. And so, and again, we were fortunate last year to have another officer perform a similar task to save a child's life. So thank you again, for everybody, for your service and your hard work. Next, I'd like to move on the agenda as opposed to the regular reports. I'd like to move down to our police and traffic safety report. Trustee Dalzell, if you want to take it from there. And the others, item 1 and 2 still?
How many years you been on, Jim? 18 years? He can wait a little longer. We have the approval to promote James Kelly to fill the vacant sergeant position. Vacancy was created with the retirement of Scott Zablotny.
So with that in mind, Trustee, we need, let's see, on the agenda, this would be letter O. Can I, this would be the, someone want to make, Trustee Dalzell,
I would make that
do you want to
motion.
make that motion, please?
Second.
So this would be the motion to, go ahead, Clerk. Clerk Hardy.
Okay, roll call number 1, motion to approve the promotion of James Kelly to fill a vacancy of sergeant position. Vacancy was created with the retirement of Scott Zablotny. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Nava Esparza.
Yes.
Trustee Peretta.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. So with regard to the promotion of James Kelly to the position of sergeant, Jim has been a police officer at the Alsip Police Department for over 18 years. Jim grew up in Alsip, Illinois. He attended District 126 schools, followed by graduating from Marist High School in 1996. In January 1999, he was hired by Alsip Public Works, where he worked as a laborer for 4 years. In January of 2003, he was hired as a patrolman in the Alsip Police Department. While in the patrol division, Jim served as an evidence technician, a field training officer, an officer in charge, and also Jim has also served as an inspector for the crime-free housing program. Jim was also assigned as a detective in the investigations unit in 2019, where he also served on the South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force. Jim was also on the Police Union Executive Board for 14 years, serving the last 12 as the union president. So again, it's my pleasure to introduce Jim Kelly as a new sergeant of the Alsip Police Department. Jim, would you come up, please? I got some paperwork here. Here it is. I want to thank the also Police and Fire Commission as well too. Gentlemen, do you want to come up with us here, Judge and Kevin? They're in attendance. Judge Tom Dwyer and Kevin O'Connell are here this evening as well then too. Before we do the oath of office, Jim, is now that the board gave me some approval of the appointment. Whereas the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners certify that James Kelly is hereby appointed to the rank of Sergeant of Police of the Alsip Police Department. This will be dated today, June 21st, 2021. So I'll have you sign that, Jim. Here. Thank you. And if you would please raise your right hand. I, James Kelly, having been appointed to the position of Sergeant of Police
I, James Kelly, having been appointed to the position of Sergeant of Police
for the Alsip Police, for the Village of Alsip,
for the Village of Alsip,
Cook County, Illinois,
Cook County, Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Sergeant of Police
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Sergeant of Police
for the Village of Alsip according to the best of my ability.
for the Village of Alsip according to the best of my abilities.
Very good. Congratulations, Jim.
Thank you, sir.
Stick 'em.
Stick 'em good. A lot of starch in that shirt.
Jake, can we get the command staff up here for a picture with you?
Yeah, we're going to go in the hallway.
Okay. Can I get one of your gentlemen too?
Yeah.
Chief.
Who over so?
I think we can sit.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jim. Thank you, Jeff.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Oh, I got choked up. It's pretty cool.
Picture. Just a quick picture.
Good. Thank you. So we'll continue with the rest of our meeting then, too. We'll start with the officers' reports, starting with mine. Okay, so the first item on your agendas was a request to approve having the village attorney draft an ordinance allowing the village president to approve reimbursements made to all the employees eligible for clothing and equipment allowances made by contract or budget. All submittals will be approved by the affected department supervisor and reduce delays in payments made to the employees for out-of-pocket expenses and a more timely action. Again, everyone received an email from Attorney Mike Kankar regarding this action, and the attorney has advised that we don't need an ordinance to do this, but I did want to ask the trustees, was everyone okay with this, making this an administrative action? It's just, everything is negotiated. This is all through contract, and like it's been appropriated in the budget. And the common complaint that we get quite a bit is from the, sometimes it's just with the delays, it can be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks sometimes before they, when they submit, for a reimbursement. By the time it makes it to a board committee meeting, then to a board meeting, then it goes back for a check being issued, it gets mailed to their house, it could be a month before they get reimbursed. Whereas if they make a purchase, the supervisor approves it, comes to my office for approval, and we can issue them a check and stuff then too, for their out-of-pocket expense.
I have a question. Why would any of them be making any out-of-pocket purchases? Like, what would an example of that be?
Uniform allowances. And so,
But aren't they all like embroidered with the Alsip logo, and don't we
Sometimes,
get
but-
that from a purveyor?
yeah, but sometimes it might be like...
Golf clothes.
It could be like work shoes, like for the police department and stuff, like fire department, things like that. Fire department's different, they have a different contract, but Public Works and Water, you guys all have different clothing that you get. You could buy a new Carhartt jacket or something like that kind of stuff. But whatever it was, what's the average allowance like for one of your employees, guys? About $300 each. And I know with some of the police, it can be anywhere from $500 to $700, depending on rank and what was approved for them. But you've already approved it in their contract, and their budget's been approved already and so forth then. So it really comes down to the supervisor approving what they purchased, and we can do this administratively in-house to, like I say, expedite this faster. Because again, they're paying, let's say if it was a $200 pair of Rocky boot, there's a brand called Rockies, it's a $200 pair of boots, they're pulling it out of their pocket, and then they're waiting for us to reimburse for their clothing allowance and stuff then too, so.
Well, can't we just add it to the other list of items that we've already authorized administrative approval on?
Yeah, it's the streamlined action, where, in other words, it doesn't need board approval, but it's being done administratively, because this is something we do all the time anyway.
It'll still get board approval.
Yeah, you need board approval, you're just expediting the process.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We're just expediting the process sooner than later.
So that's what I'm saying, just add it to that other list of items that we
Right.
already have, where they can be paid and then come to the board.
Right.
Effectively ratifying the purchase.
Yeah. Is everyone okay with that?
I am, yes.
Okay. Then that's what we'll do. We'll add that to the list of bills that we pay more or less automatically. And again, it comes before the board for final approval and so forth then too. All right, thank
Are
you.
we removing this?
I'm sorry,
From the
clerk, yes,
agenda?
pull that from
A.
the agenda, that was letter A, yes. That's just going to be an administrative action. Next on the list, letter number 2, was the approval to create a Class E liquor license for Cindy's Cafe, located 5418 West 127th Street, Alsip. The presentation was made last week, and a request made by Terry Carr at the June 14th, 2021 Village Committee meeting. And again, a Class E license is just a beer and wine license. Next was number 3, was a status report regarding the Southland Water Agency. And I did put that in the packet for everyone, and I apologize, I left it laying on my desk, but I will, I'll send everybody that, because that's a lot of reading, but it'll get you up to speed on what's going on with the Southland Water Agency at this time.
It was in the
Packet?
It's
in the
here.
packet,
You want
That's what I'm saying, I wasn't going to, unless you want me to read.
No, we're good.
Come on, Rick, so.
my Well, I guess the question is that, I see the status in there, but have they formalized anything? Is there a revenue expense report? Is there a budget? Is there anything that they have? Because they talk about a couple milestones, but it doesn't seem like...
I noticed that they didn't look like big ones. Great question, though, too. I will follow up with them to ask where the expenditures stand this time, because we have not, I'm not an officer with this organization, but you're exactly right. I would like to see what monies have been spent, if any, at this time then, too.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Let me make a note on that. All right, and then I did have a note to ask, let's see. Oh, I wanted to ask, did anyone wish to change the committee assignments that you currently have, or do we want to leave it status quo and have Trustee Peretta assume the responsibilities of former Trustee Zelinski that was here before? Did anyone wish to change those assignments? Did you want to change a committee that you're on? Anybody? No? All right, next meeting then, I'll do a formal, I'll do a formal presentation, just where we agree on those committee assignments formally, that's all in too, okay? Thank you. And that's all I have for tonight. Clerk Hardy?
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. I have the approval of the April 2021 FOIA report, the approval of the May 2021 FOIA report, approval of the May 2021 IDOT motor fuel tax allotment in the amount of $62,987.66, approval of the May 24th, 2021 committee meeting minutes, approval of the May 24th, 2021 special board meeting minutes, and approval of the June 7th, 2021 board meeting minutes. And that's all I have, Mayor Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, the Attorney's Report, we have Mike Kanker with us. Mike?
No report, sir.
Okay. Our engineer's been excused this evening. Public forum, did anyone in the audience wish to address the board tonight? Yeah, sure, come on up. Hi. You know what, ma'am, I'm sorry, we record all of our meetings. Can you just speak into this microphone? You can have a seat there if you wish, yeah.
Trustees.
Yeah.
I live in a condo on the southwest side of 127th and Cicero.
Mhm.
And I'm noticing that they have the big dumpsters in these condo buildings and in other buildings. And I just wanted to seek direction on how we can go to beautify our city by having those dumpsters that are an eyesore. Maybe I see some of the businesses have them, but there's like a fence around them to keep rodents away. I noticed one in another community where they went as far as having it brick around. I'm not saying that they have to be brick.
Mhm.
They also had plants on top, with florals going. It looked really great and it looked clean. And I think that I'm having problems with one of my neighbors, that they're dumping on my side. The landline is right there and their dumpster's right there. And I've called into the village and I asked if they can send somebody out to give them a ticket. I don't know how many tickets it takes for them. Does the fine get elevated? And that would be the address of 4829 Ingle.
Mhm.
And there's one of my neighbors on 12740 La Crosse that their dumpster is actually on the village property, on the sidewalk and on the parkway. My concern is that a safety issue, or do they want that property? Can they buy it off the city so that they can pay taxes on it?
No. And what we're going to do too, and thank you for asking what you are. So I've had these discussions just recently, and this is kind of a building department issue. I've spoke to the building commissioner about it. Trustee Peretta was just elected. He's the new chair of the building committee. He and I have been talking about this, and Trustee Peretta, we're putting together a template right now. And Dave, do you want to speak to it? Or,
Well, basically, just what you said, Mayor. But yeah, it's all preliminary right now, and yeah, and it is on our radar. It is on our radar, so,
You know,
yeah.
You know, then everybody has to get a permit,
right.
and like, doesn't,
So
yeah,
here-
revenue to the city as well, and
So-
it'll make it look better.
Exactly. So here's what I was looking at, because I completely agree with you. And I, at least twice a week, I make a round of the whole village and look at things that need to be addressed. And one thing I see in many of these buildings is, in fact, some garbage companies will even tell you that this size garbage can facilitates that many apartments and stuff then too. And I have noticed that sometimes they got these little 2-yard things. They're not big enough for like a 4 or 6 unit apartment building and stuff then too. So you really should have a 4-yard dumpster there. And even like, let's say there's some other neighborhoods just east of you, over near kind of the street, kind of like right by the flea market, they have the same problem. And you can't push the cans all the way back because then they're right against the buildings and all that. And I'm sorry if they get to sacrifice a parking spot, but we want to come up with something fair that the board will agree to. And what I was saying to Dave was, I want to have something uniform that even if it became, let's say if we called it a 6-foot chain link scenario with like slats in it, that everything looked the same, but it was an affordable scenario, and we afforded all the landlords 6 or 9 months to comply, that we go and address each one of these and say, listen, this is an ordinance, you're going to fence in 3 sides of this can and put it back in there and stuff, because you're right. It makes the community look blighted, and for any reason then too, people are hitting them and everything else. If you have a designated spot, it does. We need a board approval to go with it, but Trustee Peretta and I are looking at something right now where we want to present maybe 2 or 3 templates along with an average cost to do this then too, so that everybody's on board with what this would take. But you're right, we want to do something to protect the integrity of the community, and it's certainly, we don't want it to look blighted with a garbage can out on the street, and nothing belongs on the parkway. It really belongs back in a parking spot or what used to be, or something behind the building or whatever. I get it. The garbage can companies, they don't want to go digging if they don't have to, and there are some neighborhoods where the truck can barely fit between the buildings to get back there. So we're aware of that. We're going to try and work with everybody to facilitate it. But, Roger, any other suggestions on that too?
No, I think you summed up quite well. We are definitely looking into it.
Yeah, and I live right along the water reclamation, one of the streams, and I've already complained to our association. I actually was on the board, but because I voiced too much of my concern about what's going on with the community, I'm no longer on the board, but that's okay.
Come on.
That's okay. Because that's my concern is that crap's going into the stream, and we don't want to. I've called Water Reclamation. They've worked with me extremely well, and I want to keep that free and clear of debris. And I've asked if we can put that up there, and they don't want to put up the $3,000. And I'm like, but it's for the community. It's not just us. We're supposed to make things better in our community.
Right. No, we're definitely looking at what you said, and we're also looking at something right now that, working with Trustee Dalzell too, we're talking about snow parking ordinances and so forth then too, so we've got a handful of these coming up like
I
real soon.
appreciate this. I'm sorry then wasting your time.
Oh, not at all, not at all.
On top of your game already.
No, this is, you came to a good meeting too. We hit it off with fireworks, so no, what you're talking about makes plenty of sense, and we're certainly going to address that then too.
We appreciate your interest.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Sure.
Ma'am, if you could sign in for us?
Just so let us know we spoke with you today. Anybody else wish to address the board tonight? All right. Then we'll go on to standing committee reports, Finance and IT, Trustee Mclaren.
First, I have a request for approval of a list of payroll dated June 18th, 2021, totaling $388,688.28. Eights are wild. Next, I have a request for approval of a list of accounts payable dated June 21st, 2021. From the recap, General Fund, $328,724.76. Road and Bridge, $133,533.60. MFT, $30,432.50. Pulaski Road Corridor TIF, $4,404.60. 2017 bond interest, $99,475 even. 2015 bond interest, $90,600 even. Liability and workers' comp insurance, $1,292. Water and sewer, $176,736.15. Heritage, $163,345.08, for a grand total all funds of $1,028,543.69. Next, I have a request for approval to go out to RFP for a new phone system for the village. Next, approval to go out to RFP for the fire suppression in the server room. Approval to place the preliminary budget on file, and for informational purposes, it has to be on file for public inspection for 30 days before we can approve it. So that's what we're doing here. And then finally, approval of a resolution of the Village of Alsip approving and adopting a fund balance reserve. And that's all I have under finance.
Have we developed those RFPs already?
Kind of. They're in process.
Okay. When will we be seeing those?
Yes, absolutely. You'll see them before we send them out, of course.
Joyce, did you have the budget up here, was that to identify anything on the screen?
I did want to point out that we have a balanced budget for FY 21, 22, 23, and 24. This is a general fund we're looking at here.
Okay.
Any excess? Has been divided between OPEB, capital improvement, and economic development. So we have a 60-30-10 split of any excess funds. The other side of this is that I want you to keep in mind that we could also adjust property taxes. That's just an alternative.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have a balanced budget
Good to hear. And the general fund, right?
across the
Across the board? Just faking you out. That's great to hear.
So you can see FY '22 on the left. The net is zero in each and every account, every fund. Same for 23 and 24, FY '23 and 24. Unfortunately, Mr. Frater, Road and Bridge, gets us in 24 and 25.
Good time to soften them up.
Just got to work harder, Mike.
Mike, you're doing great.
Joyce, can you go back to the fiscal year 22, please?
Yes.
So, okay, so last year, we did anticipate lower revenues because of COVID, and typically, we would have been at about $52 million on our budget, and we reduced that down to 49 in expenditures. I see 38 is reflected here with 49 coming in. Was there, in other words, when you look at this year's revenues coming in, we're anticipating 71 million. Can we give me a quickie, like where did the $20 million come from?
Water's got a vast majority of that. They have almost a $10 million increase in their revenues.
Okay.
Part of that's, and Dan, you can correct me, part of that's due to the IEPA loan.
Correct.
And that's
They're
really,
also, the ARP funds are coming, they're getting about 1.2 million in ARP funds also.
okay.
So that's the big jump.
And Dan, what are we spending in water main repairs and stuff then too this year? With that, oh, that's right, that $2.6 million, right? Okay.
What I want you to understand is that I'm recognizing revenue here that has not been recognized before in the past. So as an example, OPEB was not a fund last year. We didn't really recognize revenue that went towards OPEB, but I have a revenue here of $4.2 million going to OPEB.
Okay.
So if you can look over on the FY 21 side, and you can see the holes and the gaps on the revenue, that I have revenue in on the 22 side. So it's just, there's a little bit different form of accounting here.
Okay.
And we're also utilizing fund balance to pay for the capital projects.
Absolutely.
As opposed to treating them as an expense item, so.
Correct.
And again, for folks looking at this, an OPEB stands for Other Post-Employment Benefits. So this is basically retirement funding that we need to fund.
Retiree health care, yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, good news then, Joyce, we have a balanced budget, is always good to hear and stuff then too, so we're living within our means.
Kudos.
Thank you. Next, we have the Fire Committee, Trustee McLaren, that it?
That's all I have.
Okay. The Fire Committee, Trustee Murphy.
I have approval of the Fire Prevention Bureau May 2021 Activity Report, and I also have the approval of the National Fire Incident Reporting System May 2021 Activity Report, and that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Trustee Dalzell, I think we just, the fire and traffic safety, I think we just still have number 1 left on there.
The approval of the Police Department May 2021 Activity Report. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Public Work and Boat Launch, Trustee Juarez.
I have an approval of the Public Works Department May 2021 monthly activity report. I also have an approval from the board to purchase one SCAG Cheetah 2 riding mower from Russo 21660 South LaGrange Road, Frankfort, Illinois, in the amount not to exceed $10,933. And I have an approval of recommendation to award the contract for the 2020 to 2021 CDBG MFT Street Resurfacing Program to the lowest bidder, AeroQuest Paving Corp., for the bid amount of $516,497.70. That's all, Mayor.
All right, thank you. So, Mike, when do you think Iroquois is going to start that work?
I would say mid to end July.
Mid to end July? Okay. I'm looking forward to that. I was looking at a couple of those streets that we talked about and stuff that greatly needed. Thank you. Next is the Sewer and Water Report. Trustee Nava-Esparza.
Thank you. I have approval of the recommendation to award the contract for the replacement of water mains to the low bidder, H. Linden and Sons Sewer and Water, Inc., in the amount of $2,765,240.00. I also have approval to file the Illinois Public Water Supply Loan Program loan application in the amount of $2,600,000.00. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. The Building and Health Report, Trustee Peretta.
Thank you, Mayor. I have an approval to have the Knights of Columbus to solicit donations for their annual Tootsie Drive on September 17th and 18th, 2021, in support of intellectual disabilities at the corners of 115th and Cicero and at 115th and Pulaski. All volunteers will be over 18 years old and will wear a yellow and red safety vest. Number 2, I have an approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip amending ordinance number 2020-07-3 by extending the deadline for installing a paved parking surface as a condition for the special use permit, authorizing the repair and storage of trucks and trailers for the property located at 3843 West 128th Place, Alsip, Illinois. And finally, number 3, I have an approval of a walkathon for Lungs for Toddy to take place on July 25th, 2021 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The route map has been submitted. This approval is pending, and if I may, I'd like to add the words "and contingent upon necessary signatures from the residents of the route and approval from both the police and fire departments." If anybody wishes to see the map, it is on the packet at page 177.
I said the map is very confusing in terms of where they're putting the barricades, and it just looks very odd.
Yeah. Roger, you'd like to elaborate on that a little bit, please?
I mean, based on the drawing, it's like it's just blocking off the street at 2 houses in the middle of the block. And then at another point, it's blocking off the entire street at 2 houses in the middle of the block.
I believe what they're looking to do is block off at the far west entrance, or I'm sorry, the entrance of the fire department, 121st Place, and then on the far east end of Lockwood, or southeast side of Lockwood. so that they can do a walk. She's going to, the petitioner is going to provide me with signatures, and I will get a better idea of what route she's planning on taking, and I can definitely report back to the board if you guys would like.
Yeah, because I said, I mean, with what was written on the map itself, and again, with where they were putting X's, and I said it wasn't at a corner or blocking off the entrance to the street. It was in the middle of the street. So it was very confusing.
Not a problem.
So basically, I was just looking at the application, it just starts at 5248 West 121st Street, and basically they're walking around that particular subdivision, that neighborhood, right?
Correct, the Lockwood subdivision.
Okay. Looking for, I see. The police dog and so forth, maybe, and fire truck maybe make an appearance after 4 and 5 p.m. Okay. I see Chief Miller signed off, and I'm not sure about the fire chief. I'm sure he'll work something out.
Yeah, I haven't got anything yet from...
Depending on their calls and stuff like that, sure. Okay. Anything else, Trustee Prada?
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, Human Resource and Insurance, Trustee Murphy.
No report tonight, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Special Committee Reports, Economic Development, Trustee Navas Barza.
Thank you, Mayor. I received an email from a staff member from Metro Strategies in regards to the Pulaski Road Corridor Study public meeting that they'd like to schedule sometime in the future, I believe mid-July. The date hasn't been confirmed, but they asked if Cook County could ship over some public meeting materials since they want to provide actual copies of the presentation to residents so that they can view, along with about 50 self-stamped or cards for residents to provide their input. So once those materials are here in the village, and once the date is confirmed for the public meeting, we will share those details. And that's all I have.
No problem. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that. I told them to forward it to Becky, and she can set that up and stuff too. Okay.
Thank you.
Next, we had the Village Properties, Trustee Mclaren.
I have no official report this evening, but Roger, do we have an update on where we stand in getting the carpet completed?
I actually wanted to chime in on that too a little bit. So I went out today, I met with Roger, and we've got 5 buildings that need the second floor repaired. These hallways are approximately 5 feet wide by 220 feet long. In one of the buildings, the entire floor, what happened was 25 years ago when they last replaced the carpet, the floor leveling cement is now broken, and it's actually created soft spots. So an entire floor has to come out of one building, whereas we talked today about this, and we may have to, we are going to have to, because there's only a single door to get in and out of each apartment, we're going to actually have to put up maybe 10 families at a hotel for a day or two while we do this work, because there's not going to be any way for them to get on that floor once we tear that floor up. The other 4 buildings, he's got 4 foot to 5 foot squares, Roger. You can have 6 or 7 per building that need to be cut up then too. Roger did get a single quote from a cement contractor. Now keep in mind too, this concrete work is going to be done interior. You got to cut up all these floors. The concrete's got to be pumped up to the second floor and actually by hose and actually relayed on this whole floor. I walked the floors today with Becky Smith, and this is a liability. And we had a hard time getting, the cost on this is approximately $20,000, and we'd like to get 3 quotes per ordinance, and we're having a hard time to get in the second and third quote because nobody wants to do, obviously tedious interior work like this. So I was going to ask the board this evening if we could obviously bypass the requirement for 3 quotes in the interest of identifying what the liability at this time, because I need this fixed ASAP, even the way it stands right now. I need this done right now. And I was going to ask for a consensus now where we can put it to a board vote in a couple weeks, because we don't meet again until like July 6th. And I need this done right now. We can get a contractor in next week to do this work, but it's just short of $20,000.
We can get somebody in to do it, get it done.
Yeah. So what I'd like to get is, at this time, Clerk Harding, if you can get a consensus from the board to approve an expenditure of let's call it $20,000 to be sure, and to approve Fraser Concrete, Roger?
Fraser Concrete, yes.
To repair
Auto
the
floors.
floors that are necessary to complete this work at Heritage 2 Apartments?
That is correct.
Right.
You said Heritage 2?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Sparza.
Yes.
Trustee Peretta.
Yes.
You have your consensus.
Thank you. So I actually, just so everybody knows too, last Friday I did call the president of the labor union, and we were going to try and get more bids in here, but times of really an urgency right now. And Roger has been making calls for a couple of weeks, and we couldn't get anybody out, so we need to move on this as soon as possible and stuff then too. And again, you're going to meet individually with all the affected families, but we're notifying everybody of what's going on in each building, so nobody can say that they weren't apprised of the situation here and stuff then too. We're going to let everybody know. We're going to have a meeting with each tenant and let them know what we're doing here and stuff then too, so. But we did, over Saturday, I was over there for an agenda meeting, and I did walk through a couple of the buildings that were over there, and the place looks good. I mean, we're still waiting on our vinyl baseboard to come in, and it's amazing how people think, the supply and demand right now is just ridiculous. There's just not that kind of stuff sitting around. So we're waiting on baseboard to come in. A lot of the floor carpeting has been done. And Roger, go ahead. What Trustee McGuire was asking about with stairs and whatnot now, too.
All of the buildings at Heritage 1 have been completed, other than the stair casings. The stair casings, they're going to start work on over at Heritage 2. There are 6 total buildings left, 5 of which need concrete. They will be starting that 6th building tomorrow, which is 12324. As soon as the base comes in, they will put in all the base, and they will be putting in all this, taking care of all the stairs at Heritage 2, but probably the end of this week, beginning of next week, they'll start the stairs.
Okay.
Yeah, this is really tedious work, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah, stairs are never fun.
And I met with the residents, and they're pretty upset this is taking so long, but again, we really have to understand the impact of what's going on. Everybody's like, couldn't you do one building at a time? It's like, we could have, but let's put it this way. When we identified 5 buildings of this magnitude, it's like we couldn't contract a contractor to come in and do one and go, whoop, come back, I got another, whoop, come back, I got a third and a fourth and a fifth. It don't work. They got other jobs to get to. So we had to really understand where we were at. I think they're doing a good job. It's just taking a little bit longer than what we planned. That's over $427,000 worth of carpet. So I mean, this is a big job.
You're doing essentially close to $500,000 worth of work. You can't snap your fingers and expect it to be done.
And I every so often I do stick my head in the door, and I saw the carpet layers are there every day. These guys are working, so they're not taking time off or anything like that. And I saw at least 3 to 4 crews out there. Is that what they got?
Presently, right now they have 1 crew at each place.
Okay.
But at one point, there was 3 at Heritage 2 and 1 at Heritage 1.
Yeah, so it's just not like 2 guys doing the whole thing. They got a pretty decent team out there working.
Yeah, as I say, it's an awful lot of square footage, and and I appreciate, in reality, it hasn't been that long since we started the project.
Yeah, all the floors are being screwed down. They're all being signed off on before they can put the carpeting down, and obviously with the concrete, that's going to slow it up, but they can continue with working on the stairs. So. And
just so everybody knows too, they're still leveling the floors as they go too. The floors that they were able to, they're pouring the concrete and stuff, and they're not using like that lean Weber stuff and truing out the floors. They look good, and like Roger said, some of the floors have a wood layer, and they're screwing all the floors down so they're tight. You're not hearing them make all kinds of noise and everything else then too. So they're doing the job right, and this happens what, Raj? When's the last time they had carpet? 25 years ago?
It's been well over 17 years that I'm aware of.
Yeah, so again, we're dealing with an infrastructure issue. Okay, thank you. Anything else, Trustee McLaughlin?
That's all I have.
Okay. Then we'll go to ordinance legislation. Trustee Peretta?
No report tonight, Mayor.
Okay. And Trustee, I'll get together with you as we talked about it. We're identifying a couple of, before the next meeting, we got a couple of weeks to work on it. We'll bring some more ideas. We got to clean up some language on a couple of ordinances that we saw. Okay. Planning and zoning and licenses, Trustee Juarez.
I have an approval of a list of licenses dated May 24th, 2021 through June 4th, 2021. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Just so everybody knows, too, I did attend the Plan and Zoning meeting last Wednesday night with regard to Impel Union, who came back in and made a new presentation to the Plan and Zoning Commission, and with regard to a special use permit, and they did a very good presentation, and the Plan and Zone Commission gave a unanimous yes vote to move forward with that then, too. So we'll probably be presenting that next month, but I actually went over, and I was telling Roger, I was impressed. I went over and took some pictures of all the work they'd done. That was almost $3 million worth of work they did on water retention and blacktop and all that kind of back there. It looks good. Looks really good going around there, too, so.
On that topic, Mayor, too, since you said you were at the meeting, what about the MWRD property?
That was continued. It was, Gary Perlman sat in for the Kankar Law Firm. Gary identified that property as actually being zoned for public use, which there's more caveats there for that. And so the petitioner needs to have his own attorneys take a look at that. Go ahead, Mike, maybe you can explain better.
You know, and this is no reflection on anybody here, but I've never seen people do less due diligence before they request zoning relief in any community that I've ever been involved in. I mean, these people just throw this stuff at us, and they don't look at the codes, they don't hire a lawyer, they don't hire an engineer, they don't hire anything. And then when you tell them this is wrong, it's like, well, you didn't tell me before. Well, it's really not our job to do these things. So Gary was here, and I think Gary handled it, not me, but it was basically a matter of they didn't have the authority. They're supposed to have you're supposed to be the owner or have written authority from the owner to make the request. They had neither. There were a lot of little things like that we said, well, why don't you get all that done and come back in another month.
So that means that would be like me coming in and ask for a zoning change on your house.
Well, yeah, well, it is, and they didn't even fill it. I mean, they spend no time. I mean, the project of that scope, you'd think they put a lot of time into trying to figure it out and do it right, but it's all kind of on the fly, and we'll just do it until someone says we can't, and that's what we did. We said, no, you got to be a little more organized and a little put together.
And bottom line is, our attorney is looking out for our interest. MWRD attorney was there looking out for their interest, but the petitioner needs his own attorney to look out for his, and he wasn't doing that. So, I mean, he tried to place blame on us, and like, no, continue it then, do whatever you're going to do, and so forth. So, no, that was continued.
Okay.
All right, then we'll go to, did anyone have any presentations, petitions, or communications? None? Then did anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda?
Letter B.
B.
And I don't know, should we hold on to V until we get answers?
On to which?
Letter V is in Victor.
Oh. I think on its face, I think it's still, let's put it this way, I'm sure they want to make plans, but they've submitted, is it just that you're waiting on approval of signatures? How many?
Approval of
Roger, how many
signatures,
signatures?
75%.
You need 75% of?
It's what I'm using it is as a block party, because typically when a block party, and they ask for the streets to be blocked at 75%, according to the ordinance.
So you need 75% of the affected households need to sign off on this. Any idea, Roger, where they're at, any percentage right now?
I did not reach out to her today, so I do apologize, but I will reach out to her and have an answer for the next meeting.
Okay, so we're going to meet again July 6th, so they've got a couple weeks to get that together.
If we could just make it contingent upon the approval from Building Department, Fire Department, and Police Department, this way,
right,
the approval's there,
to meet
as
the
long as they meet the
75%.
requirements.
Right. Okay. So I would agree with you, Trustee Mclaren. Clerk Harding, if you want to put it at the end, is where it says approval of both police and fire departments pending 75% approval of the neighborhood.
And the building department.
And the building department approval.
Okay.
So contingent upon approval from police, fire, building, and residents, affected
Correct.
residents.
Okay, I guess that'd be another way to say it, too, sure. Police, fire, building department, and residents. Okay.
So we're not removing it, we're just
No.
having that
We're
in,
just
correct?
modifying it.
Okay.
Right. So then, can I get a motion then to establish a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have roll call number 3 to establish the consent agenda. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Varza.
Yes.
Trustee Peretta.
Yes.
Motion carries to establish the consent agenda.
Thank you. Can I get a motion then to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call number 4 to approve the consent agenda as presented. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Varza.
Yes.
Trustee Peretta.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve consent agenda.
We fill in the blanks for N and U.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I meant to do that first. Letter N as in Nancy, approval of a resolution of the Village of Alsip approving and adopting a fund balance reserve will now be known as Resolution 2021-06-R-2. And letter U is umbrella, approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip amending ordinance number 2020-07-3 by extending the deadline for installing a paved parking surface as a condition for the special use permit authorizing the repair and storage of trucks and trailers for the property located at 3843 West 128th Place, Alsip, Illinois, will now be known as Ordinance 2021-06-5.
Very good. So we'll go back to, we had a single item removed. It was letter B, approval to create a Class E liquor license for Cindy's Cafe located at 5418 West 127th Street, Alsip, Illinois. A presentation and request was made by Terry Carr at the June 14th, 2021 Village Committee meeting. Trustee McLaurin, you had pulled this to, before we
Yes.
take any questions, did we have a motion and a second?
Second.
You're
need a
making a
motion
motion?
first.
Oh, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Second.
Did I have a second on that?
Second.
Trustee Juarez.
Okay. Thank you. Trustee McLaurin, did you have a question on it?
No, it wasn't a question, it was just a matter of pulling it primarily for a separate vote, as felt like their presentation was lacking in terms of what they gave us last week. There's no actual layout, no real plans. He just came in and said, hey, I want a liquor license so I can open a cafe, and to me, that's just not enough to approve this at this time.
I agree wholeheartedly. I was really disappointed. Nothing.
Kind of like what we're just talking about with planning and zoning, and the guys showing up, not doing all their due diligence and saying, give me a variance. I'm feeling the same way about this.
If, in fairness, I would agree, we didn't get anything tangible to look at, and I know, obviously, based on what he was telling us, he owns 7 steak and egg
Steak and eggers,
establishments.
but he's not open on a steak and egg.
I understand that, but yeah, that, obviously, a little more literature and so forth might have helped the conversation.
But, I mean, others have come in and they've given us pictures or renderings. They talked about the number of people who are going to be employed,
Performa.
what the expectations are, and this was obviously successful, but it's just, there was no time and effort put into this preparation whatsoever.
You know, I'd like to, well, we already got a motion and a second to approve, but did anyone else have any questions at this time?
And again, Mayor, you know, I asked a lot of questions at the last meeting, but again, I felt like we were being asked for a gaming cafe and that the food end of it was second. There was no menu, There was no, I heard sandwiches. There's no layout, what this would even look like. And, to Trustee Dazell's point, we've had guys come in here and just, again, renderings and beautiful layout, and hey, this looks great, and it was just a poor effort altogether. I mean, if you're going to sell a steak, you got to sell the sizzle, and I hate to keep going back to food things because that's what I do, but
you're a food guy.
Very, very disappointed in that whole presentation. And
I got to write that down.
Me too.
I have
Very
more.
prolific.
I have more. Yeah, I mean, it was. If it was a steak and egger, we kind of got excited about it, Trustee Juarez and I. Steak and egger.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then
I was like, oh.
her gaming cafe, and it just kind of went, but I would love to see something,
Okay.
Can
you call that vote, please?
Roll call number 5 to approve item B as in boy, approval to create a Class E liquor license for Cindy's Cafe, 5418 West 127th Street in Alsip. Presentation and request was made by Terry Carr at the 6/14/2021 Village Committee meeting. Trustee Dalzell.
No.
Trustee Juarez.
No.
Trustee McGlohan.
No.
Trustee Murphy.
No.
Trustee Navas-Sparta.
No.
Trustee Peretta.
No.
Motion fails with a vote of 6-0.
Understood. If I speak with Mr. Carr, I'll let him know, and should he have another presentation, I'll ask him to do that another time at a committee meeting for reconsideration then. Okay. And I'll share your concerns with him. Next, did we have, anybody have any unfinished business? Any new business? Can I get a motion then to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll adjourn this meeting then at 8:33 p.m., and thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Have a great evening. Thank you.